Now to the cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be. Here is Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because.
The abrupt departure of Joy Behar from The View has shocked the industry. Fans, critics, and even her longtime co-hosts are in a state of shock and are searching desperately for answers. Behar, who is well known for her sharp observations and strong beliefs, has had her fair share of criticism over the years. The firestorm that engulfed her, nevertheless, seemed to have finally grown out of control. ABC is remaining silent and won't disclose the real reason for her sudden resignation. But there are whispers that a lawsuit is being filed, specifically the defamation case brought by Karoline Leavitt. Given Behar's reputation for igniting controversy, many are now wondering whether this lawsuit was the last straw that caused the network to cut off its relationship with the outspoken personality. The incident started after Behar made a derogatory remark about Donald Trump's press secretary, Leavitt. In an article that went viral, Behar vehemently claimed that Leavitt was chosen not because of her political or professional credentials, but because Trump believed she was physically attractive. There was immediate outrage at the comment, with many criticizing Behar for being hypocritical and insulting. Since legal concerns were already emerging, Behar's career at ABC may have been determined the moment she made such remarks. The main question remains unanswered. In this instance, was Behar finally going too far? Or does ABC want to keep the public in the dark about other aspects of the story?
Empowering feminist Joy herself, everyone. And this is why I thought she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world.
The View hosts have got themselves into hot water again after they did the very thing they purport to be against, undermining women's success. Joy Behar stunned viewers when she said Donald Trump's press secretary, 27-year-old Karoline Leavitt, only secured her position because of her good looks.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
The comment was bizarre, especially coming from Joy Behar, who is as woke as they come and positions herself as a champion of feminism. This online commentator said, disgusting Joy Behar of The View accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired only.
Joy Behar's shocking remarks sent a shudder through The View's studio. Even her co-hosts, who are used to her forthright comments, were visibly surprised by the audience's reaction. The real firestorm, however, started online. Within minutes, social media was ablaze with outrage, as critics from all sides said that Behar had reduced a woman in politics to nothing more than her attractiveness. How about the irony? Behar has always positioned herself as a vocal advocate for women's rights, condemning sexism in the media, entertainment, and political spheres. Her own words, however, tormented her this time. The audience was shocked at the hypocrisy. How could someone who advocates for women's rights and feminism so nonchalantly belittle another woman's achievements? When the fury hit like a tidal wave, the internet swiftly demanded action. Examples of hashtags included #NuckFireJoy, Bart Cancel Joy, and Dump Behar. This time, Behar took over Twitter, making it hard for even her most loyal supporters to stand up for her. The disappointment was palpable. Her supporters, who had previously admired her honesty, felt duped by the comment, which they saw as disrespectful and insulting. But as the outrage against Behar grew, she hardly flinched. She downplayed the growing criticism as if it were just another fleeting argument and acted as if the storm would pass. But this was no ordinary media flurry. It was an urgent situation. And things took a drastic turn when Karoline Leavitt decided she could not stand it any longer. As a final option, the press secretary immediately took legal action in retaliation.
Been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be. Here is Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because she.
Karoline Leavitt didn't just make a forceful statement in response. Her first goal was the legal jugular. In addition to publicly condemning Joy Behar's remarks, Leavitt took them to court, charging her with actual defamation. But it wasn't simply hurt feelings. Legal experts quickly saw that Leavitt's case was much more intricate. She wasn't only saying that the remarks were disrespectful, she believed that Behar's comments had purposefully damaged her professional image. The lawsuit claims that Behar did more than merely misspeak, which is far worse. She acted malevolently, deliberately trying to damage Leavitt's reputation. As the legal battle intensified, ABC was in a vulnerable position. Its primary objective is to assign the country's most confident, gifted, and intelligent individuals to leadership positions. The network has stood behind Behar in several conflicts, but this time, the stakes were different. Defamation lawsuits are more than just negative press. They can have serious financial and reputational consequences. Executives reportedly rushed into emergency meetings in a desperate bid to make decisions. If they backed Behar, they would be entering into a bitter legal struggle that might damage the network's image for months or perhaps years. However, what if they released her? One of the most controversial and well-known personalities on television would be gone. There was a lot of tension behind the scenes. Employees were reportedly divided. While some believed Behar had finally gone too far, others said she was being unfairly singled out. Insiders said that talks were already underway on how to handle the fallout.
Behar may have your jobs because of wokeness, but do not smear a competent professional woman like...
Several options were on the table, from suspending Behar for a short time to making her apologize publicly. But what could be more drastic than making her retire entirely? And if ABC was considering that, it meant they believed there was no way to resolve this problem.
Nonsense, and don't lie about this being her first job. We know what you're doing.
What ought to have been just another little argument had suddenly descended into a big ABC catastrophe. The network was trying desperately to contain the damage, but before they could come up with a solution, the bombshell was dropped. Joy Behar was officially vanishing from the picture. The ABC statement, which only said that Behar had decided to resign, was both unclear and questionable. But let's be honest, nobody thought this was a voluntary departure. The timing was just too convenient, especially after Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit and a social media firestorm that didn't seem to be going away. ABC officials reportedly made their decision behind closed doors. The network was cutting its losses because Behar was becoming too big of a liability before things got any worse. Reactions to her departure were mixed. Some viewers were celebrating, saying that Behar should finally be held accountable after skating by with her unfiltered views for so long. As long overdue responsibility, they condemned her for what they saw as a pattern of hypocrisy in her statements. But others, they were furious. They saw ABC's move as a display of corporate cowardice, another example of a major network caving to political pressure instead of standing by one of its most outspoken voices. Suddenly, the debate began. Was this a suitable response to an inappropriate comment? Or was this another case of cancel culture gone too far, where a media veteran's ideas were silenced? News outlets, social media, and even late-night talk shows were dissecting every angle. Was Behar's departure really caused by the lawsuit, or was ABC looking for a pretext to remove her for good?
Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father Dick Cheney have got this country into is not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out.
The View itself is the main focus now that Behar is out of the picture. What is the future of the legendary chat program? Will ABC play it safe and bring in a less controversial speaker? Or will they go all out and replace her with someone equally fierce? More importantly, who could possibly fill Behar's absence? Because whether you liked her or not, Joy Behar was unquestionably the show's most compelling voice. This leads us to the important question. What will happen to the case now that Joy Behar is no longer involved? Will this legal battle continue? Or will ABC step in and put out the fire before it gets any worse? some industry insiders claim that the network is already working behind the scenes to settle the Karoline Leavitt dispute in an attempt to end the controversy before it further damages ABC's reputation. A prolonged legal battle could be a PR disaster, tarnishing the network's brand and ensuring that Behar's polarizing remarks remain in the headlines for months or even years. However, some believe it won't be that simple. If Leavitt refuses a settlement and proceeds with her case, it could significantly alter the way defamation battles impact well-known individuals, especially those in the media and entertainment industries. But this is no longer just about The View or ABC. This scandal has sparked a much broader conversation. How much accountability should be placed on public figures for their remarks? Should talk show hosts be allowed to say controversial things without facing consequences? Or are networks finally pushing back against their most polarizing figures? Behar's exit is shaking up the industry and raising serious questions about the future of outspoken TV personalities. Will networks start handling bold, unfiltered pundits with greater caution? Or will they double down, knowing that controversy sells? Without a doubt, this is about more than just Joy Behar now. At stake here is the future of who gets to speak on national television. Behar has been relatively quiet since her departure, fueling speculation about her next move. Will she eventually break her silence and set the record straight? Will she defend her remarks, criticize ABC, or try to control the narrative before it spirals out of her hands? Some think she will come back stronger and refuse to let this incident define her. Others believe she will step away quietly to protect her legacy and avoid further scrutiny. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain.
That it really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get into college.
An era has ended with the departure of Joy Behar. But is this the beginning of something bigger in the media landscape? Beyond just her time on The View, Behar's sudden exit signifies the end of an era. Whether you liked her or not, she was one of the show's most recognizable voices, and her departure will leave a significant impact that ABC cannot ignore. This is a pivotal moment for the network. Should they replace her with another fiery, opinionated personality to keep the momentum going? Or should they tread carefully and bring in a more reserved voice to avoid further controversy? One thing is for sure, The View will never be the same again, and ABC isn't the only one affected. Viewers are now forced to reconsider their relationship with the show. Without Behar, will they still be engaged? Or has their trust in the program been shaken by this controversy? Some argue that Behar's departure was the inevitable consequence of her actions, as she was given too many free passes. Others believe she was unfairly targeted, a victim of cancel culture and political pressure. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily. Finder.